the Transportation Secretary was addressing this larger issue that was taking place, he also went into how air travelers were dressing. And that brings us to our next conversation. Shea Oakley is an airline historian. We want to talk a little bit more about flying fashion. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
What was your reaction upon hearing those comments?
I'm old enough to remember when we did dress up to fly. Back in the 70s when I was a kid, my parents and whole family would be dressed up. So I remember those days. And when I heard him say that, I thought, gee, that's a great idea. Except it's not 1975 anymore. That's the one problem.
One small problem. We're about 35 years later, 45 years later. When we're looking at the scope of the flying public today, how do you even see this being implemented?
It was purely a suggestion, basically, an official suggestion from the, chairman of the DOT, but a suggestion nonetheless, and one that sadly probably will not be followed because flying today simply is not anywhere near as exclusive or as comfortable as it was 45 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit more about that. I can remember when I was little going on flights and we got a full meal when we were flying home to grandma's house. We got a full meal and we weren't in first class and we got a full meal on the flight and things of that nature, whereas today you get, mixed nuts.
Yeah, if you're lucky, the bottom line is that today the airlines have done what's called unbundling, where everything that they used to include, even with a basic coach, you have to pay for. So other than maybe the seat belts and using the lavatory, you have to pay for everything on the plane today. That's a big difference.
Yeah, and the price of the flight in and of itself continues to go up as well.
Yes, I mean it's much cheaper than it was 45 years ago, and to some degree, flying by air, with the airlines is airborne mass transit in a sense today, because the fares have come down. Are they going back up? Yes, to some degree, but it's still much cheaper than it was before airline deregulation, and that allowed a much larger segment of the American population to fly, and that's when we got into the backpack and pajamas era.
Yeah, that's good perspective that even though we're seeing the prices start to rise, it's still not as high as it was back then. I think maybe everyone just has sticker shock because it feels like everything, not just the price of that, but everything is rising right now at once. What were some other thoughts about, you said the pajamas and whatnot that now you might see on a plane?
Well, the particularly in basic economy, the seating is so cramped, and people want to be as comfortable as they can be when flying, and I totally understand that. Now, I still, as somebody who's in the industry and who has obviously, if you look behind me, a deep interest in the history of the industry, I still throw on a sport jacket and a nice pair of pants when I fly, but I understand the pajamas and shoes off crowd because it's just gotten really, really uncomfortable. And then on top of that, you've got the hassle with security post 9/11. I mean, it used to be getting there was half the fun. Now it's anything but.
Yeah, you make a great point there in terms of the overall flying experience now that has just changed in so many ways. I'm the type of person that I do, think well, I don't want to be in pajamas at the airport because I don't know who I'm going to run into. But the flip side of that is, I remember when I was younger and I could do it, wearing heels through the airport. And then you think about hey, if I got to run, you got all these delays and all of these other things that are happening. If I got to run, I'm not running in heels.
there's a practical side to the way you dress when you fly. And, that's always been true to a degree. I mean, people had to run to catch flights 50 years ago, and if they were in heels, that was going to be difficult to do. But the thing is, maybe there's a happy medium between having on a jacket and a tie, like in 1970, and having a pair of pajama bottoms and have your shoes and socks off and your feet for your neighbors to enjoy.
Now listen, feet is that's a whole nother, interview that we'd have to do just about, shoes on, shoes off. I don't know if I can ever get on that level, but, what is one thing that you yourself would like to bring back?
Decent leg room. I'm 6'2", and I generally do go for the lowest fare, like most Americans do. And at 6'2" in basic economy, my knees are sometimes against the seat in front of me. So I would love just a couple inches more distance between the seats, what's called seat pitch in the industry. I'd like to see that increase.
Well, some airlines definitely are looking to accommodate you just for a few more $100 these days. That's an added fee.
Right. It's not free. You can always, I can buy the upgraded economy seat for a flight that's 2 hours long for another, $75 or whatever it is. And it's not worth it, for me to do that, except when I'm halfway through the flight and I'm really, really uncomfortable.
Yeah. No good, no bueno flying when you feel uncomfortable. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you giving a historical look back on things as to, where we are now and what we're hearing from the federal government about where we may be going.
So hope we have a good reason to dress up in the future. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for watching Fox 32 Chicago. Subscribe now for the stories that matter and never miss what's next.